Good morning, everybody. How's it going? Um, I have been awake for a good while, but I not have my coffee yet because I was waiting to get that jump start for my live stream. I've been up since about 6 because the moment that the sun starts coming up, it starts getting hot. Uh, oh, here, let's check the temperature. Get the right angle here. Okay. It's 102 already, and it's only 9 a.m., which is not surprising for this time of year. And it probably didn't drop below 98 all night. So it's really hard to sleep when it's like that. It's hard to get good sleep. So yeah, if I seem a little groggy, that's why. And it's been like this for days. And yesterday, the the high was, well, on my thermometer it only reads up to 120 degrees. After that, um, the mercury doesn't have anywhere else to go after that. So it was about, well, my thermometer read out 122, but it could have been hotter for all I fucking know. So my battery bank stopped being able to get a charge because it was too hot. So I had off the power for the last portion of the day and just let it charge and cool off, which kind of sucked. Oh yeah, and my new internet router like pretty much fried itself too. So that also sucks. I'm gonna have to call them and get them to send out a replacement. So yeah, it's hot and it sucks. And I'm here today to talk to you about some of the things that you might not have heard about how much it sucks out here in the summer. A lot of people try to explain to me how they know how to deal with hot and blah 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 blah, and I have to just like kind of give them the side eye, like, because there's a difference um between living in a house or an apartment in a hot place and having all your amenities there, and living off the grid in the middle of the desert where you have to, create or obtain your own amenities. That's a lot more work and effort. So it's like, yeah, why don't you go on about how you lived in fucking Phoenix, Arizona for 3 years in your apartment and how hard that was, and then like also tell me how you could totally handle it out here. It's very fucking invalidating. Oh, and another one is when I tell people about, oh, it was 120 here the other day, and they'll say, oh, well, at least it's a dry heat. And I want to just smack them and be like, bro, you understand that a dry 98 is still very fucking different from a dry 122. You fucking absolute rube. It's like people want to like one up you and shit, and it's like, even when you're literally living in one of the hottest places in the world, they're still gonna try and one up you by saying that they lived in fucking Phoenix for like 2 years or something. It's it's infuriating. And the thing about it is that dry heat at 120 plus degrees takes on different properties as air. Like in where I grew up in Minnesota, once the air temperature gets down to a certain level, and it just gets really dry. There's the humidity is impossible, and that dry coldness just sucks the moisture out of you, and it sucks the breath out of your lungs, and it's just awful. Like, I've experienced, the coldest I've experienced in Minnesota was -40, which is pretty gnarly. And that's with wind chill, but that's like, I guess without wind chill, somewhere around -30 something or other. Um, but yeah, that wind chill is what gets you, especially with the dryness in the air. But out here in the summer with the dryness, so you're literally in a dehydrator basically. Like, the ideal temperature for your dehydrator is going to be somewhere around like 130 degrees or something. And so my dehydrator is literally just a glass box, and I let the sun do the rest. And it'll dry out a big slab of meat before the end of the day. We're made of meat. So it takes a lot of constant maintenance every day to not die out here. You have to keep putting water in you so that your meats don't dry up like my jerky in my dehydrator. And yeah, that dry 120 plus degrees just sucks the life right out of you. And it makes you not want to do anything, which is good, because if you do anything and your heart rate goes up, you can stroke out real fucking quick. And it happens to a lot of folks, especially if you're older or you have pre-existing conditions. But like, so the thing about it is, if you don't have your shelter built by the summer out here, you're gonna spend, like, you might feel good at the beginning of the summer, like still working on your place, making it better. But by the end of the summer, if you don't have a place to like finally just like lay down and rest and ride it out for the last month, you're like hella fucked. So that's one thing that people might not tell you. And ooh, I have one can of my favorite sake left. I might do sake breakfast. Oh, that's another thing that people might not tell you about being out here in the summer, is that drinking becomes like 1,000 times more deadly. And I'm sure that I've talked about this on my last few live streams, but I've had to like seriously cut back on booze, and mostly I've just been going with like either not drinking or going with something like 13% or less. And I'm a long-term drinker, like, and I have a really high tolerance, so that's kind of a big difference for me. But it's literally a matter of life and death out here, especially during the last gnarly heat wave of the summer, which is what we're currently experiencing. August is worse than this, and then August hits, and then it's humid and even hotter, and it fucking sucks. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm a fucking cranky bastard right now because I've been sweating, literally pouring sweat out of all my pores 24/7 for like, and after a while of that, like, you start getting skin rashes. Like, you'll see around my neck here, it's super itchy and red, and I've got like all these sweat zits, especially under my armpits. I know it's kind of gross, but check this out. This sucks. You get these little fucking shits all over the place, and they're not zits. They feel like zits, but you can't pop them, and they just like, it's like an ingrown hair almost. Like, your hair follicles start flipping out. I've got some on my butt too. I'm not going to show you those. They're not as bad. And sometimes I get them on my back too, but like mostly armpits and like crotch area where your body is like. Another thing that sucks about being in 120 fucking degrees constantly is that during the day when you're trying to relax, like, sure, it sounds like a great idea to just sit back and just like ride it out, which is great. But what you don't realize, if you've never experienced it, is that if the world around you is 120 degrees, your body temperature is supposed to be 98.3 degrees, I think. 98.6, is that right? Anyway, it's supposed to be somewhere around that ballpark. So everything is like way hotter than your body. So you touch, like, even my desk, the wood feels like, a hot potato. You touch metal, especially because metal transfers heat really well. You sit down on a metal chair, it'll burn your ass. Um, and I have an outhouse out in the yard. So if I gotta take a shit in the middle of the day, um, yeah, I gotta sit down on a blazing hot toilet seat. And I actually did a thread in the one of the Slab City Facebook pages about things that people don't tell you about being out here in the summer. And one of the complaints was, or not a complaint, but one of the things was people don't tell you about holding in your poop until sundown. And that's real. It really is. Like, your body just kind of learns not to have to poop during the day. And yeah, so I mean, that's helped me get really regular. So I guess that's a con. That's a plus. Or not a con, a pro. Um, so that's one thing. Another thing is, like, you might be able to handle the heat for like a day, 2 days, 3 days, whatever. But after a certain amount of time, like weeks, it gets goddamn maddening. Like, the heat, it really does cook your brain. So, like, at first you'll get mad and just irritated and shit, or just listless. Like, I just get like, duh, like, I'm just dumb. But like, after a certain amount of time of that, it like really takes a toll on your brain, and you start like just kind of fucking losing it. And I'm well past that point. Obviously, I've done already lost it, and so now this is post losing my mind, where like it's my new reality. But you kind of have to accept that as your new reality. Like, brain is going to panic and tell me to run away, because that's what your brain's supposed to do. You get that fight or flight. When it starts getting hot, you get the, what do you call it, the heat panic. And you feel that heat, and you're like, I need to get the fuck out of here. Or your brain doesn't communicate that to you as well as it could. And instead you just get like really angry and really confused and do stupid shit and make poor choices, and then you die. So that's how that goes. And that happens every year. There Actually, this year there haven't been too many deaths, so that's pretty cool, all things considered. I was worried about a few folks, and they're still kicking. So if they're still kicking by the end of this month, then they're still kicking. Thanks for joining me, guys. Hi, hi, hi. Welcome. Like I said, I didn't drink my coffee yet. And my brain's been cooking for days. And yeah, so if I seem a little stupid or less eloquent than usual, that would be why. Yeah, I've been counting down the days till September. Oh, thanks, 569 Tramp. I appreciate that. Um, it's 16 days till September, and that's when the temperatures are going to get a little bit more normal hot, where they'll be like, the high of the day will be something more along the lines of like 98 or 103, which is, that's fall weather to me. So I'm really looking forward to that. Um, Other stuff that people don't tell you. I had something else. It'll come to me in a minute here, but yeah. Oh yeah, another thing that that you wouldn't know about being this hot for this long is that, well, since I live off grid, and I don't have all the amenities that you do in a house, my my way of bathing is either I'll do like a cup and a bucket shower here at the house if I'm feeling too lazy to walk over to the canal and jump in. Um, but the thing about that is that somebody has to haul the water over here. So I need to think ahead of time and be like, I'm feeling really tired right now this evening, but I know I'm going to be even more tired tomorrow after sweating all night and barely getting any sleep, and I don't want to have to walk over to the canal. So if I'm going to do that, or if that's the case, that I want to look out for myself, I need to go and haul water tonight, even though I'm super duper tired, but it'll help me in the future. So that's one thing. Another thing is that like um, I end up swimming or bathing about twice a day because when you're constantly pouring sweat, you just have to. You get grimy, even though after a certain amount of time, you're just sweating clean because your body doesn't have any more toxins to sweat out. It's just water dripping out your pores, basically. But, all the grime around you just gets everywhere and your skin gets all irritated, so you have to wash it off. And that uh, I mean, I have to walk like a quarter mile over to go take a bath, basically, and sometimes I have to haul like fucking shit, 12 gallons of water. Also, I like roll it in a wheelchair and go get it, but it's a lot of work and it really takes a lot out of you. And the thing is, when you're sweating nonstop, um, you jump into the water and I mean it's great to wash off all that gunk and stuff, but you never really get dry. So it that's another part that's like really maddening. You're just like dripping sweat all the time, dripping, and then you get in the water and that's like your relief. But it's just unsettling because you never got to dry off ever. You get out of the water, you dry off with a towel, and the moment that like even while you're drying yourself with your towel, your body is immediately perspiring. So it's just like you just kind of have to accept that, and that is it really fucking sucks. Um, I how my dog deals with it. Well, that's the thing is she's my dog and she's really lucky. So I keep her sprayed down and cool. So then that's more of my own physical energy that I have to expend to keep my dog and my cats cool as well. So it's, I mean, but you got to do it. And Satan has a cool hole um, in her doghouse that she's dug really, really deep. Her son Boo started it and got it really deep, but Satan got it way deeper. So it's like she's got a little tunnel under there, and every now and then she'll dig deeper a little bit to get to the cooler sand under there. And she prefers that to being sprayed down. She doesn't like water on her face, but she likes water a lot. But I use the mister, and so my dog and my cats are fucking taken care of. I wish that somebody would fucking, you know, just spray me down while I laid in my hole all day and didn't fucking have to do anything. That'd be cool. But, that's not the case. But I do hang out in that hammock there a lot. And in fact, in the last couple days, I've hung out in that hammock so much that when I go to lay down in bed at night, I feel like I'm still kind of swaying in the non-existent breeze. Oh, that's another thing that they don't tell you about. The breeze. It's not cool. It's not a cool breeze. It's a hot breeze. It feels like a fucking hair dryer on your skin. So that when that breeze comes through and it's all hot, that sucks the moisture out of you even more. So you're already feeling like a fucking raisin. You feel like you're getting sunburned while you're laying in the shade out of the sun. And then that breeze comes by and it just like, it's like a convection oven. It's crazy. It's crazy. And one thing, another thing about being super hot is that and I'm really glad that I have ice in this, but it kills your appetite as well. And getting proper nutrition when you're really hot is super important because you're sweating out so much and your body's working really hard. So you need, like, if you're gonna eat something, it better fucking count. So I pretty much, like, I eat whole foods, like just veggies and meat and just basically, like, well, salty foods is good too because that helps replace the salt. But preparing your food when you're nowhere near a grocery store. I mean, there's a grocery store in an island that's 3 miles away, so I can get, like, basic stuff. But there's not, like, fast food or delivery or anything like that. So it really fucking sucks. So I don't eat pretty much all day. This is my breakfast. You saw I just used some flax milk. I got to take my MCT oil too to run off of, give my body that fats to keep my brain healthy and my body healthy, and I take some supplements as well. But also that can be harsh on your stomach if you're ingesting that sort of thing without other things in your stomach too. And no matter what, I make myself eat something for dinner. But that's usually pretty tough. Especially when it's, like, so hot that it's hard to keep fresh food as well. Like veggies, you're only going to be able to keep them for a day or two before they spoil. Even in my cooler is really a knockoff Yeti, and in these temperatures, the ice inside the cooler melts a lot faster, so it doesn't keep as long. So yeah, when we do have ice, I'm just, like, pounding that shit. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna do a dab here. I'm just waking up, and it's gonna be another long, hot day. And at this point, I'm just doing whatever I need to do to keep my brain sane. And if that's having a little sake, taking a dab, and drinking my delicious fortified coffee, then that's what I'm gonna do, because surviving is my job at this time. Because somebody has to hold down the fort. That's another thing that people aren't gonna tell you about me. Well, I'm sure a lot of people talk about that like they know, but it's always people that don't actually live here year round. But in the summer, people do get real desperate, as they tend to do when faced with certain death. So a lot of the folks who may have, like, drug problems or otherwise suck at taking care of themselves out here, when it's hot like this, instead of doing, like, the things that I do, which is working to maintain my existence here by any means possible. Well, I guess they're doing it by any means possible too, but they're taking different means. Instead of, doing all of that other stuff, they resort to scoping out abandoned camps, because there's going to be abandoned camps in the summer here every year, because, people are like, oh shit, it's hot, I'm leaving now, I didn't think this through. And then these other people who also are kind of in the same boat, but might not have the option. This is Tom Waitsu. Oh, she's asking me to put her in the hammock. I'm going to do that real quick. Come here, baby. Hold on. She wants to do it by herself. And she's probably going to yell at me until I grab a wet rag and throw it over her too. But that's her spot. Anyway, so these other people are going to see these empty camps or places that might be easy pickings, and they'll be like, wow, yeah, I'm desperate to not die in the desert. I'm going to go and nerp that shit. And a lot of people do get really desperate out here, even, like, decent folks at a certain point. I watched this Facebook group It's for the Morongo Basin, where they expose people that have been caught on camera. Oh, see, she's yelling at me. But lately, the ones that I've been seeing are just people that look like they're homeless, and they're just trying to break into people's houses so that they can get water and be in the shade because they get like crazy, crazy desperate. All right, I'm gonna get Tom Waits a wet sarong here because otherwise she's not gonna shut up. This is what Tom Waitsu does when it's hot. Look at that cat. Isn't she cute? I know. I'll help you. I'm going to do something funny too. The sarong that I'm wearing on my butt right now is actually the one that I usually use for Tom Waits. So I'm going to switch this. Don't look at my butt. Oh yeah, that's another thing about being out in the desert in the middle of the summer. You really just stop giving a fuck, you know? Like, after I turn off this camera, I'm taking this shirt off. I'm not going to wear this anymore after this. Hey, puppy. Hi. Look at you. Yeah, I know. I know. I know. There. How's that, kitten? Is that better? Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So back to what I was saying, crime rates go up, but really it's just like, for the most part, it's just people trying to not die, basically. Not to say that they're like perfectly good, fine people going around stealing shit from people, because, you know, they made the choices that led them to being in a godforsaken desert without the right resources in the first place, but, you know, that in and of itself isn't a crime, obviously. Um, and what's the other thing that I was trying to say? Yep, it's gone. I forgot it. It'll come back later. So yeah, I'm counting down the fucking days. What especially sucks for me, that I super hate about being hot for this long, is that my brain does get like a lot dumber, which I said earlier, but like the shitty part about it is that all my favorite video games are like games that require a lot of like thinking and strategizing, or like puzzle games. And I'll find myself like trying to play these games to pass the time during the day, and my brain is just like overheating because I'm using it too much and it's too hot. It's like when you have a computer and you're trying to run a program, but it's already too hot and it just like shits out. That's pretty much what happens to me. So then when I'm playing my fucking games during the day trying to pass the time, sometimes I just have to like just, you know, save and quit because it's just not happening. And then I'll start, um, you know, I'll start it up again in the morning, like around this time after I've done my morning chores and stuff, and I'll find the solution to the puzzle like instantly, and it's actually super easy, and my brain was just cooking and really dumb. It's very frustrating. So then when that happens, I have to switch over to just watching TV or something like really mind numbing that doesn't take a lot of thought, and just kind of do that. Um, I also do work out in this weather, but I can't do it nearly as much as I can when it's not hellishly hot. Boognish, I live in a tree, dude. That's my... Yeah, I already have many layers of shade and cooling. I live in a tree and bushes and stuff, dude. Gardens out here die. Especially this time of year. William, yeah, lots of people have swamp coolers going out here. Everybody's got their own shit going on. I don't use swamp coolers. I don't like them. There's a reason I don't like them, because they're called swamp coolers. I'm already fucking wet. I've got fucking rashes all over my body. I don't want to make the air wetter than it is, because that sucks. My skin's gonna break out. Boognish, an indoor greenhouse requires indoors. I'm not interested in advice. Also, I don't really have much of a green thumb, honestly. Like, and even if I did, keeping plants alive out here in this time of year is really fucking hard. I just stick to letting the native plants here grow. Alright, I'm just catching in on the chat here. Colonel, yeah, I'm always trying to find people that want to help me run the library. This particular year was really bad for me, crew-wise, because I got blacklisted on that dumbass site that I used to endorse. So they put out the word to, like, their whole community that I'm a bad person and not to be trusted. So a lot of people, and I've talked about this before, but a lot of people that otherwise would have come here to volunteer did not. So I was pretty much running the library on my own for the entire last winter season. Yeah, but even so, good help is hard to find, especially the kind of help that can hack this shit. Much less, like, because you can't just have one person doing this either. You need at least two people to maintain an establishment here in Slab City year round. I mean, you could do it with one person if you had like a different type of establishment than mine, like where you're only open one day a week, like Bill's The Range. But I know that he has like kind of a loose knit crew over there too. But you know, if you're only open for like weekly events, then you could probably get away with just one person running the joint. But I wouldn't recommend it. You got to have backup. Like if one of you, you know, gets hurt or gets heat stroke even, or like whatever, it can happen to anybody and they end up going to the hospital, then what are you going to do? So yeah, that's why it's good to crew up instead of trying to start your own whole place. Everybody in the winter comes here and they're like, oh, I'm going to be the next slabber, blah, blah, blah. And then they just are completely averse to the idea of joining somebody else's crew because they want to start their own thing and start, you know, they're like, oh, but I want to bring this to Slabs. And like, it's just frustrating because they haven't actually done like the work to figure out what it is that would benefit Slab City most. They just come in here and think that they know better than everybody. And if they really wanted to help the community, they could just as easily join up with somebody that's been here that's been established here for a long period of time, or at least like, you know, the standard period of time. Like you're not really a slabber until you've done 2 summers consecutively here, or like, you know, existed here for a substantial amount of time. You have to earn that status. You can't just come here and be like, I'm the newest slabber, because that's not how it fucking works. But, you know, if you really did want to, like, come out and help the community in some way, then, you know, I would suggest contacting the year-round established camps and seeing if they need help. That would be the way to do it. And yeah, pro tip, don't come here in the summer. I get Facebook and other messages from people messaging me, and they're like, hey, I'm coming out to Slabs and I want to help the community, and I have some big ideas and all this stuff. And I'll be like, cool, when are you thinking of coming out? And they'll be like, coming out next week. And I'll be like, dude, it's the middle of August in Slab City, which is an extreme desert climate in the summer. Like use your fucking brain, dude. I mean, you know, if you want to come here and try it out, that's fine, but nobody else is going to be able to help you, because at this point they're just trying to hang on for themselves and do whatever they need to do to not die or go insane. Oh, thanks, Susan Campbell. You fucking rock. Hell yeah. Cheers. Kanpai. Mm-hmm. That's good shit. This is my last one. Damn shame. Yes, Robert, I take vitamins. I talked about supplements earlier in this video. It's important to have good nutrition out here. And if you want to talk about nutrition with me further, I'm not going to sit here and rattle off all the fucking supplements that I take or things that I look out for nutrition specifically, because this is not a video about nutrition. This is a video about, you know, how much Slab sucks when it's hot. But if you want to have that conversation, you can go to the Discord server, which is in the bottom link of the description below. And you can join us and talk about all sorts of fucked up shit or cool stuff, you know, whatever. But join us in the Discord. It's great. And there's other links down there, so you can get a cool ass t-shirt like this. And yeah, there's stuff and things. Like, share, subscribe, and click the links. Anyway, now that I got that out of the way, now I just gotta figure out how I'm gonna kill the rest of my day. Because that's the biggest thing, just getting through your day. The hottest part of the day is gonna be about 3 to 4. So, you know, basically the cycle of the day out here is gonna be, I wake up around like 5 or 6, because that's when the sun starts coming up and it starts warming up. So around like 4 a.m., that's when it's the coolest time of night. And last night I didn't stop sweating even then, which sucked. So that means that the temperature couldn't have dropped below 98 even at the coolest part of the night. So then after that, you wake up at about 5 or 6, and you know, you got to get moving, because you're not going to be able to sleep much longer. And also, since it's the coolest part of the day, that's the time to get shit done before the rest of your day. So then I'll do basic morning chores from around 5 or 6 to like 9, which is when I started this video. And then at 9, I guess I kind of just putz around doing whatever it is that I feel like doing before it gets hot. And then it starts getting like really hot around 1-ish, and then it just keeps getting hotter and hotter and hotter until 4. And then by 4, that's when it's not going to get any hotter. So if you made it to 4 o'clock, you know, you're on it's on its way out. So then from like around 5, you actually feel the temperature drop a couple degrees, which is cool. And then it last night it didn't drop below 100 degrees again until midnight. So yeah, it's a slow decline in temperature, and it's pretty crazy. Thanks, 80-bit. I appreciate that. And I saw Sabra. Thanks, Sabra Tatum. Fuck yeah. So that's like the basic cycle of the day. And I don't lay down until like, yeah, on days like that until like 11 or 12. And then I spray my bed down with water misters so then the bed isn't like a hot potato. Because that sucks. Laying down on a hot mattress after a hot day is just the worst. So then I finally probably catch some shut eye around like midnight. Try to. Yep. It's good times. And then wake up, rinse and repeat. Oh yeah, during like sunrise is when I take my morning swim, and sundown is when I take my evening swim usually. If I'm doing 2 in a day, then it's like, yeah, it's this time of year, it's balls hot, and you have to get your body core temperature down so that your body can fight to live another day. It's a mind-numbing routine. Oh man. Hey Mac, how's it going, dude? Anybody have any questions that I didn't address already pertaining to the topic of the video? If you have any questions about what it's like in extreme desert climate in the summer off grid, I'm here to answer it. So here's your opportunity. Where did my lighter go? Oh, there it is. Nobody's got $1 million question, huh? Well, all right. I must have done a good job explaining. I've got actually, Bert Pineapple had an okay question. Do the mice rely on stealing your water? No, that's absurd. How would they get in my water tank? But the reason it is kind of a good question is because you mentioned the mice, and that's another thing that I totally didn't mention. But in the summer out here, the mice are bonkers. They're so active, and lizards and other wildlife. It's like a whole different world ecologically here in the summer. There's tons of bugs, tons of lizards, and tons of mice and rats and stuff like that. It's crazy. So I have 5 cats now. I've bred them over 6 generations to be adapted to this environment and to be good hunters. And that's like pretty much their purpose is pest control. But what's cool is that I think that with the number of cats I have now, with all the cat urine around the yard, that's been deterring rattlesnakes. So I haven't had to kill any rattlesnakes this season. Which is badass. I did hear one in the yard the other night, but the cats chased it off, which is really cool. And they all eat at least 2 mice a night, and they live on birds and stuff like that. Oh man, I forgot to cool them off. Hold on. The rest of my cats are over here. This is what they do during the day. Mm-mm. Only Tom Waits likes to be in the hammock. You ready? Ready for the cool? And this is like a thick wool tablecloth thing. So it holds, I don't know if it's wool actually. It's, yeah, I don't know. But it's a good material that holds the water really well. You see how well it holds it? It's like a towel almost. But a towel is going to be too thick. There you go. Hi, Keaton. They don't like it at first because it's drippy, but in a second after it's drying up a bit, they'll settle in and it's nice and cool in there. Alright, I'm catching up on chat here. How is my solar? Where am I is asking about my solar. I talked about this earlier in the video, but if you missed it, it wasn't really like a whole thing. But yeah, the heat really does take a toll on especially the batteries and the inverter and the charge controller. Like the more sensitive components, they get overheated. I still have it laying around somewhere here because it's crazy, but I had an inverter my first summer here, and it melted. It looks like it's just like it looks like a toy that got put in the oven or something. It's it's crazy. So yeah, that can happen, and I actually kind of count on it every year that something is gonna fry. But if I keep a fan on it, that's also gonna demand more power running through it at the same time, so it kind of defeats the purpose. I don't know. I have it in an insulated but aerated area, and you can watch me kind of explain my power system and setup on other videos if you go to my channel and look at some of the chores outdoors episodes or walkthrough type things. Oh, thanks, Debbie Silva. Yeah, I love my kitties. They take care of me and I take care of them. Just gotta, keep them all watered. And I have this cool, oh, Satan. Satan's in her little dirt hole, so she's nice and cool. But I have, on the animal friends out here passed away the other day. He was a large hog that just couldn't make it in the heat. I don't know what kind of conditions he was in, but I don't want to talk about other people's business. But that's something that happens too. Like livestock is susceptible to it just not being able to handle it out here, just like humans. A lot of humans would just drop out here as well. And somebody asked me earlier if I knew anybody that has had heat stroke, and yeah, doy, that's yes, of course I do. People get heat stroke out here all the time. It's bad. And the thing about heat stroke is that once you get it, you're more susceptible to getting it again. So it just it's not going to get any better. I've never had any sort of, I've never had any health issues due to the heat personally, but I'm super careful. But there was one time that I went to the hospital because I wasn't hydrated enough, so then I got like a bladder infection, I guess. Like if you aren't peeing enough, then your urinary tract doesn't clean itself out properly, and then you can get an infection, and it's like insanely painful. I didn't realize how I didn't know that that was like a thing. I thought I was dying. That sucked. Mm. Rosie, you're building a care package. Electrolyte powders are good, but I want like sugar-free stuff. I'm on a really specific diet. Man, my troll slayers are out in full force. I love it. Yeah, guys, just a reminder that if you are not respectful of my gender identity and pronouns, which are they, them, then your comments will be deleted, you will be warned, and if you're not respectful, then you will be kicked and eventually banned. Or just straight to banned if you're just rude about it. Ooh, that's quail. There's a lot of them. Satan, fuck off. Are they? Oh, they're in my tree. Quails. That's awesome. They're up in my tree. Hi, friends. They don't usually hang out in trees. Something must have spooked them. Oh, and their other part of their crew is over this way. They're like, hey guys, where'd you... The other ones are... Bye. Wow. Oh, that's not a quail. I was like, geez, I didn't know. Oh man, I got cut off. They're doing live streams on Friday nights instead of actual gatherings. Because we're not doing gatherings. It's a fucking pandemic. There's still some in my tree. That's really cool. They were like way up there too. There's been a lot of quails. I saw a family of 15 run by my bus, like right next to my bus when I was waking up. Mm. Saying it's okay, it's just the quails. It's okay. Puppy. Wanna say hi? He's just sweet tones. Now, quails are delicious, and if I wasn't live streaming right now, I might go pop a few. Oh, satans. Especially since I'm out of like fresh meat too. I got spam. There's so many of them. It might be like, well, all the young quails that are born in the spring are now like almost adults. That's so cool. There's one like right up there. Where are you at? I don't know if you guys can hear them, but they make really cute noises, and they actually have a really complicated like language and way of communication. It's pretty fascinating. Anyway, I'm probably gonna fuck off after an hour here, so if you guys have any more questions before I do that, pertinent to today's topic, then I'm happy to answer them. There's already a couple of pretty decent questions that I had forgot to mention. I'm sure you have some more. Oh, thanks, Moneysuckle. Appreciate that. Cheers. Beep. Beep, beep. They're so cute. I've heard them make a sound that, like, when they're calling for something, I'm not sure. I've only heard it one time, and when I first heard it, I thought it was like a little kid in the bush, like, yelling, and it sounded like, whoa! Like, it was really weird. And I was hiding in a bush because I was scoping something out, and I heard it in the bush next to me, and I was like, oh shit, I've been spotted. Somebody's fucking with me in the bush. And I heard it again and realized that it was a bird. And then I saw them run out of the bush, so they're cool. They have some cool sounds that they make. CJ, you keep asking about my water like evaporating, dude. Like I live next to a canal. I can go get water anytime I want. And it's not that much. Like, do research on how evaporation works and at what temperatures it evaporates. I'm not a fucking scientist, dude. Thanks, Saber Tatum. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. The other day, I was sitting here and I heard quail walking up and I was just chilling. And I didn't realize how many of them there were until they all like flew into the air. And what it sounded like, it legit sounded like what how a big tree sounds when you cut it and it starts falling. It was like whoosh. And I was like, what was that? Because it took my brain a second to realize what it was, but it was a huge flock of quail just taking off from like right on the other side of this wall. Super cool. Debbie Silva is asking, do I have coyotes out here? Do we have coyotes out here? Yes. Yes, we do. But there's a lot of wild dogs, or semi-wild, and, people's roaming dogs that they let run around. So that kind of keeps the coyotes out that way and out that way and not in slabs. They don't like to be around a lot of people. And there's kit foxes too. Kit foxes are so cute. They're totally not threatening at all. They're just neat. They're like kitten foxes. Thanks, Rosie. There are like large birds out here. That's one animal that actually poses a threat to your pets is like big owls and hawks and turkey vultures. They're big enough that they can swoop down and grab a cat, no problem. And I have lost a few cats in the past few years to probably an owl and also a really big fucking hawk. Oh yeah, no worries, Boognish. Thanks. Glad I could help. Have a good day, Mac. Stay hydrated. But yeah, anyway, this month is halfway over, and I don't know what's gonna happen with the whole pandemic thing. That kind of makes it weird, because like it's usually pretty isolated out here in the summer anyway. So that's not totally unusual. I mean, I've been able to cope, And fortunately, I've been able to live stream and talk to you guys and stuff. And you guys have been generously giving me donations so that I can continue existing and have it, like, you know, whether I had money or not, I would be existing, but that helps me to exist a lot more comfortably. So thank you guys so much for that. That's very cool. And it helps me to continue to serve this community as well, which is a lot easier said than done. There's, you know, a lot of unique challenges to that as well. Regardless of the unique challenges of being in an extreme climate off grid. Catch you later, Colonel. I'm about to fuck off too. Just trying to figure out if there's anything else that I missed here. Yeah, if you do end up in a really hot situation, just make sure that you find yourself some shade and keep the sun off you as much as possible. And drink as much water as you can. Like, don't spare it. Just keep pounding that water in you, because once you start getting dehydrated, your brain starts making stupider decisions and more desperate decisions, and that can lead to you dying. IK, there's a PayPal link in the description below if you just check that out. And never underestimate the power of evaporative cooling too, like what Tom Waits is doing in the hammock there. She knows that if she lays in this little cocoon of moisture, then she can stay cool, and she just naps. I'm envious. I made a human size one of those at one point, but it was just too much effort to like maintain. So I just put my sarong over my head. It's a lot easier. Yeah. Just the most important thing is to keep the sun off of you and stay hydrated. Always keep that water on you. All right, folks. Well, it's been fun, but I got shit to do. So I'm going to rip another dab, and I'm going to save Hyrule probably. That sounds about right. I'm on the final dungeon of Skyward Sword, which is probably not my favorite Zelda game that I've ever played, but I've finally gotten to the end of it, and I'm going to beat it, so that's cool. If my brain doesn't overheat and I can't solve puzzles, there's a small window of time in which I can operate on that level in this heat. Thanks for reminding me, Will. Check out the links in the description. Join the Discord server if you want to have conversations like this. And, you know, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification if you want to make sure that you know when I'm going live next. Otherwise, you'll miss it. That wasn't a good one. Nope. I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna do a dab of... Nah, I'm gonna stick with the sativa. Alright, folks. Stay cool, stay hydrated out there. Join me next time. I don't know when, but like I said, make sure you hit the bell notification so you know. And, yeah, I'll see you later. Bye.